Hello, I'm Bill Beckham at Franchise Clarity, and this is the Franchise Clarity Podcast, where we cut through the glossy brochures and talk about the real economics of franchising. Today's episode is about franchise fees, beyond the obvious. Everyone focuses on the upfront fees. You'll see brokers and franchisors advertising two things: the required upfront investment and the franchise fee. However, the franchise fee is only part of the story. The complete story is the stack of fees you'll encounter across the life of your business. And depending on how those fees are structured, the balance of power and profit can tilt heavily in favor of the franchisor. When you buy into a franchise, there are multiple layers of fees. I'm going to put them into four main buckets: the initial franchise fee, the build-out phase fees, ongoing operational fees, and vendor rebates. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, the initial franchise fee is what generally gets quoted. It typically ranges from $27,000 to $75,000 per territory. It's marketed as covering the franchisor's brand, trademarks, business model, and initial training and support for the franchisee. This one-time payment grants access to franchisor systems and ongoing support. It's supposed to cover the cost the franchisor incurs when onboarding new owners into the franchisor's network. So, based on this, you would think that there shouldn't be a lot, if any, additional fees. This is where you can be wrong. The build-out phase is where you'll put up the capital investment to get started. It typically includes everything from site selection to building a new building or renovating a current space. This is where equipment is purchased and installed, staff is hired and trained, and more. The franchise disclosure document will often list out the major costs involved. In addition to the initial franchise fees, some franchisors will hit you up with build-out related fees. For example, there could be a project management fee where you'll have to pay someone, and that could be the franchisor or another third party, to manage the build-out phase on your behalf. Required vendors, well, they're to be expected. You'll need architects, design firms, and more. Those vendors may charge above market rates, so a hidden fee. It's also possible that the franchisor could charge a training fee for the training that you'll need to open the business. I've also seen where some franchisors will require that you purchase a grand opening marketing package, a kit, as it were, to help you stage grand opening promotions and advertising. Now you're open. You should expect to pay a royalty for the continued use of the brand and ongoing operational support. It's important to note that the royalty is usually a percentage of gross sales, not net sales. Sometimes the franchisor sets a floor, a minimum amount that you have to pay if sales dip below a certain threshold. The franchisor may create a marketing brand fund that every franchisee will be required to pay into, and that's usually a percent of gross sales as well. A lot of franchisors include the option of putting locations into an area advertising cooperative. These cooperatives are set up to allow the franchisor to carry out regional or local promotions for a group of franchises located in the same region, city, town, whatever. Technology fees, software, call centers, etc. The franchisor may have operational software that you're required to use. These charges could add up to thousands annually. And lastly, we have vendor rebates. This is the least transparent category, and here's how it works. The franchisor mandates that you use certain approved vendors. These vendors then rebate 3 to 5% back to the franchisor. Here's an example. Say you spend $200,000 a year with the approved vendors. Multiply that across 100 units, and that's $1 million in rebates that go back to the franchisor. The problem is that these rebates don't always benefit franchisees. Sometimes they just fund corporate overhead. When evaluating a franchise, Don't just ask what's the fee, ask where else do fees show up. I thought it would be a good idea to look at two examples using the same sales volume, just different fee structures. Let's call the first case study balanced system or the franchisee-friendly model. In this example, the franchise fee is $40,000. The build out is straightforward. It's $400,000 with no additional fees. The ongoing fees when you operate are as follows: a 6% royalty, a 2% marketing fund. There's no mandatory advertising cooperative, and there are no vendor rebates. To frame this up in terms of a P&L, we have an annual sales of $1.2 million. This puts royalties at $72,000, marketing at $24,000. Let's say the cost of goods sold is 30% of sales, and labor, rent, and other charges are all 25%. This equates to a net profit of $144,000 or a 12% margin. In this scenario, both the franchisor and franchisee win. The franchisor collects steady royalties, but franchisee margins remain healthy. Let's move to the second case study. This is a franchisor heavy or one-sided arrangement. The franchise fee is now $60,000. The build out is $500,000 because of $100,000 in above market premiums that vendors are passing on to the franchisee. In addition, the franchisor has a $20,000 project management fee, $12,000 for onboarding training, and a $15,000 grand opening marketing fee. This brings the total build out to $547,000. The franchisor is also charging a 7% royalty. The marketing fund is now 3%, and there's an area advertising cooperative at 2% of sales. There's $6,000 a year in required technology, and vendor rebates are 5% on $200,000 in spending. The franchisor is receiving $10,000 per year off these royalties. Let's look at the P&L. Just like with case study number one, sales are at $1.2 million. This means that royalties are $84,000. The marketing fund is $36,000. And the advertising cooperative is $24,000. Again, there's $6,000 in technology fees, and cost of goods sold increases to $408,000 behind the vendor rebates and above market pricing. Both labor, rent, other charges remain at 25% of sales respectively. Now the net profit declines to $66,000 or a paltry 5.5% margin. Meanwhile, the franchisor collects $150,000 in fees plus $10,000 in vendor rebates, or a total of $160,000 per year per unit. The franchisor makes more money than the franchisee. This is where alignment breaks down. Case study one works because fees are balanced, rebates are transparent, and franchisor incentives align with franchisee success. Case two fails because franchisor profit is guaranteed while franchisee profit is squeezed. Over the long term, this leads to franchise churn, resales, and closures. Now, here's what you should be asking. Where does the franchisor actually make its money? Are vendor rebates disclosed? What extra fees hit during build out? Do ongoing fees fund growth or just corporate overhead? So when you look at a franchise FDD, don't stop at the headline franchise fee. Map out the entire fee lifecycle, from pre-opening to royalties to hidden rebates. That's how you see who's really winning. And if you want help running those numbers like a CFO would, that's exactly what we do at Franchise Clarity. Visit franchiseclarity.net to learn more. If you like this content, hit the subscribe button. Until next time.